We're going to discuss the takeoff alternate, sometimes called an alternate airport for departure or takeoff alternate. It's a very important concept. It's a concept that a lot of people forget about when they're dispatching because you're planning for something that usually does not occur, which is an engine failure or an immediate return to the departure airport after takeoff. The takeoff alternate is required when the departure weather is below the landing minimums at the departure airport. In other words, it's not an issue of taking off. You're able to take off, but the weather is not good enough to come back and land under normal conditions. Therefore, you file an airport that is considered a departure alternate, but it's actually a place that you can land at if you cannot come back and return to departure after perhaps a bird ingestion or taking off in bad weather and an engine fails. You need to get down quick sometimes. Sometimes it's required to land as soon as possible, but without an airport that has safe enough weather, then you need an alternate airport to replace the departure to come back to. There are distance limitations as to how far away a departure alternate can be from the actual departure. For a 2-engine airplane, it's usually based on 1 hour at normal cruise in still air with 1 engine inoperative. If you have 3 or more engines, then the answer switches to 2 hours based on normal cruise and still air with an engine inoperative. There's nothing really normal in terms of cruising with an engine inoperative, but based on performance tables and graphs, you can determine a distance, or your airline would determine a distance that equates to basically flying around for an hour or two, and they will use that as a maximum number of mileage to use when selecting a takeoff alternate. For example, if your destination airport is within these time limitations or these distance limitations as prescribed by the regulations, you can file your destination as a takeoff alternate. It might sound a little odd, but it basically means, well, if you take off and there's an engine problem or some other issue and you have a problem coming back to departure, finish the flight. Just continue on. It apparently is the destination that is not too far away from departure. Just finish it off. There are other options, though, and other regulations that may apply once you take off and once you lose an engine. This is a pre-filing flight planning exercise. Basically, before the flight leaves, you're determining the weather's not good enough to come back to. Let's pick a possible airport that we can return to if there's a problem. It doesn't mean you're going to land at the takeoff alternate if you do actually have an engine failure. The reason is you don't know when you're losing the engine, you don't know where you're going to be, you don't know what the conditions are en route, and basically that's where an en route regulation that is discussed during the course is going to take over and replace the regulation we just spoke about. So this is essentially a pre-planning move. Some airlines require takeoff alternates for other reasons outside of the regulations. That's something that we discuss in class. That's not going to be found in a book, but it's excellent information that you can bring into your airline.